Access. Gilded Feathers. Chapter 1, Future for the Present. In the dry deserts of the western border of India resides the spiral city of Nixtam. In this district, one could find the most prestigious school in the entire country, High School Kolar. After being closed for over a year, HS Kolar finally opened its gates once again as the war had finally ended. With the start of a new academic year, the winds brought a fresh batch of new students. One of them being Abhi. Bega School, said Abhi while he observed the vast establishment of Kolar, the gargantuan and illuminating marble-crafted work of art edifice. One may even mistake it for the Taj Mahal, well at least without its spherical dome. The outdoor campus is as vibrant and green as grass could be, covering the main building from all four sides, with the beautiful shrubbery wonders of topiaries, acting as dividers between the marble tile pathway and the grass panels towards the entrance. It would be an understatement to call this scenery beautiful. While walking towards the school, Abhi looked around and held his gaze at some peculiar-looking people in black suits and black goggles for an extended amount of time. As Abhi walked inside the campus, these people were seen even inside the school. Abhi ignores them for now. Ding. Trang. Trang. The first day of Abhi's high school life began as the school bell rang in the light of a new millennium. Abhi jogged towards the school building after the bell rang. Upon getting inside he looked around, displaying wonder in his eyes. He stood in the middle of a giant hall, but the enormous hall wasn't the only wonderful thing, there was also the interior of the school building which was noticeably different from the exterior. The interior resembled modern architecture. Unlike the exterior, the inside walls were made of cement with white overpaint, whereas the outside was built from marble, and there were wood railings, poles, and benches all around the place. The hall even had a beautiful chandelier hanging from the ceiling. Even though the interior looked different from the exterior, it still looked elegant and harmonized well with the school's marble exterior. The walls were covered with pictures of the school's special events and achievements, and even pictures of celebrities from all over the world visiting and even studying in the school were visible. A particular wall though, just had a lot of writing on it, not only that but it was written on a brass plate. "Man, I gotta hurry up," said Abhi in a rush. Many hallways were branching out from the main. Abhi seemed perplexed, perhaps he wasn't confident enough in his navigation skills to find his classroom. Yet suddenly, Abhi closed his eyes and softly mumbled something. After he opened his eyes his expression had completely changed, he looked and acted confidently, he soon chose a way and started walking towards it. The hallways were long and the staircases were wide. After a few minutes of walking up to the third floor, Abhi finally reached his classroom 1C. He went inside. The classroom was large, but not enormous, compared to the rest of Kolar's gigantic architecture. The classroom had not one, not two but three classboards. Two of them were at the front of the classroom, one being a whiteboard, the second being a blackboard and the third one was another whiteboard placed at the back of the class. Every student, including Abhi, entered the class and occupied the two-person benches at random. While entering, he looked up and noticed a black cuboid-shaped box attached to the ceiling. He seemed curious about this object, but chose to ignore it and took a seat in the front of the last column alongside a guy with peculiar-looking orange hair. The benches were made of wood yet seemed quite comfy, and as with everything else, they were large too. Abhi looked to his left and found a window beside him. He looked around some more and then looked at himself as if he was comparing himself to his fellow students. When compared to the attire Abhi was wearing, the students of HS Kolar were of unique appearance. Once everyone was seated, there was a moment of awkward silence in the room. In that instance, the guy who sat next to Abhi suddenly stood up and asserted, "Good morning everyone, my name is Veer. I'm delighted to be here amongst you all. From what I can tell we all are students from different places far and wide all across our nation. With the presence of such diversity, I'm sure we all want to get to know each other. So I was thinking why don't we all introduce ourselves to the class as a starting ceremony for our first day at school." Students gave Veer a peculiar look and in a few seconds another student from the back replied to Veer. "That's a good idea Veer, but how about we wait till our class teacher comes in, so she can get to know us as well. Good point, Depp, let's wait for the teacher, replied Veer. The rest of the students in the class nodded with approval. Creak. Bam. The classroom door smacked open. A beautiful, fair, curvy, and well-dressed lady in a sari with long black hair, a pair of specs, and a giant smile on her face walks into the class and stands in front of the class cabinet. Good mornin', homies, welcome to Class C of 11th grade, I'm going to be your homeroom teacher for this year. You may call me Ms. Oxlong. The class greets back the teacher in unison. Did she just call us homies? Some of them whispered. So from what I heard while walking in, you guys wanted to have an introduction session in my presence, right? Sure, but before we do that, I have to inform you guys about some important information first. To start, I'd like to give an insight into the schedule and schematics of our academic lives. And also I have to present a special message to you guys. The class nods following Teacher Oxlong's words. I wonder what the special message would be, said Ubby in a subtle tone. Probably some boring informational video, said Veer while looking at Ubby. Haha, true, replied Ubby. Get your notes ready and write down all the information necessary, said Oxlong. The students proceeded to follow the teacher's words and write down all the necessary information. A few minutes of info dump later, the teacher got close to her final announcement. Finally, by this week's end, y'all have to give a merit test. This test won't be counted in your overall grade, but do not make the mistake of taking this lightly, as this test will determine your fate as a student of color. The entire class stops writing down the instructions. They display an uncanny look on their faces with anxious eyes, flared eyebrows, and wide-open mouths. They say, "What? A test in the first week? That's not fair, what the hell?" said some anonymous students from the back. The teacher, noticing this reaction, assures the students. Now y'all don't need to worry, there isn't anything to worry about. This merit test is just to evaluate all of your individual and overall class limits, which would provide data for our team to maximize the growth of all you Pokebears. Students, relieved to hear this, relaxed their eyebrows and faces to nod towards the teacher with approval. Wait, but what in the hell is a Pokebear? Some of the students thought, as they didn't seem to be familiar with the modern lingo. Now, as for the last announcement, we have a special informational video for y'all. See? Told ya, it was gonna be just another boring informational video, nothing else, said Veer to Ubby. You called it for real, said Ubby while softly chuckling. Tap. The teacher flicks on a switch placed next to the blackboard. The black cuboid box above started to vibrate and illuminate green lights. Ubby was paying utmost attention to this, with his face looking like he just witnessed a dark angel descend down from heaven. Some of the students looked at this happen with intrigue. Wow, I have seen projectors being used in special halls before, but Kohler has them in every class. Some were looking up with blank faces. I didn't notice that projector before. The teacher held a remote in her hand and clicked a button. Immediately, the cuboid box projected and displayed a computer interface. She then went to her desk and opened up a silvery device with Sony imprinted on its back. This device seemed to be connected to the black cuboid above. Damn. They even got laptops in every class, huh? Said Veer, referencing the device. Isn't that like a computer? Said Ubby. Well, a laptop is pretty much just a portable computer, so you are half correct, replied Veer. Ubby looked amazed after hearing this. He exuded curiosity, his eyes glistening with intrigue. He almost seemed like he had never seen or even heard about such technology. Seeing this, Veer lets out a friendly smile towards Ubby's excited expression. The teacher then pulled down a white curtain from a large white cylinder placed on top of the secondary blackboard. This was used as a screen for the projector. Alright, before we start, I'd just like to inform y'all that this special informational video comes straight from the core of the education department in the capital, and is a mandatory watch for everyone. This will only be played once among all classes simultaneously, so pay attention. Click. A video starts playing on the white screen. A man maybe in his 30s pops up on the screen. He has long white hair, deep brown eyes, and a darker brown skin complexion. He greets the camera by saying Namaste while joining his hands together. As soon as he appears on the screen, every student, including Ubbi, goes wide-eyed, being in disbelief, their jaw drops to the floor and their eyebrows hit the ceiling. The person in the video starts to speak. Good morning, students of Kolar. My name is Vishva Pratap Raghavan, but you may know me as the President of India.